Listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
3 steps, give me 3 steps a minute. Give me 3 steps towards your door. Give me 3 steps, give me 3 steps a minute. And you'll never see me no more. Oh, sure.
10/27, 10th day of November. Oh, Coach Wade Devries, how are things going this morning? A little bit of a busy weekend ahead of you, huh?
Yeah. You know, it's been a busy week. A lot like, I guess, the last 11 weeks before this. So, you know, it's a busy week. It's a busy time right now. There's a lot of buzz, which is exciting for the school, the district, the community, all that.
Well, right off the bat, that's the one thing I wanted to make sure of is just the community support. I mean, it seems like no matter what, you're going to see about 40 to 50 posts about Roxana football from somebody in the community every week, and it seems like it just keeps growing.
Yeah, it's tremendous. I mean, it was tremendous even, 2 years ago when we were 2-7, it was tremendous.
Yeah.
And then last year to be able to, take some steps forward, win a playoff game, host a playoff game, you were able to really see it come out with the tailgates and, packing the stands. And then, with the success the kids have been able to have this year, obviously it's even to another level.
Well, the support on every aspect, too, because it seems like, the football team supporting the Marching 100 guys that are out there and then going to different locations, just kind of being a part of it. And that's what I think's really cool is to see that hand in hand and we're all on the same team.
Yeah, I think that the support is always there, whether it's, in the fall, soccer's going on and the football players will try to make it to soccer games when they're not during practice and soccer guys are out at ours. And then volleyball, obviously there's a lot of support there. Cross country is tough because, we wanted to get kids out to the cross country meets, but it's difficult to do with it being early Saturday mornings and sometimes far away. But, we're able to get a lot of kids out there. We're able to get kids, supporting each other. And I think that's something that I've noticed in my 6 years at Roxana that it's not really predicated on wins and losses, right? I mean, these kids support each other. They're all in the fight together. And when one program is able to have success, be it football or another, everyone's kind of able to build off that, and there's a sense of pride, not only in obviously the community, but within the school district.
Well, and on top of that, too, before the season started, I was kind of going through some of the prep stuff and some of the articles, and right off the bat, you guys were pretty confident that you had a pretty good team going out. Now, I don't know if it's as confident as, man, we're going to steamroll like you did. I mean, this was an incredible regular season. Did you just see everything coming together in the last couple of years and know, hey, we're here?
I feel like we felt like we knew we had an opportunity to be very, very hard to beat. And that's really all you can ask for in football. If you would have asked me if we were going to clock almost everyone, I certainly would not have expected 40-point wins. I would have expected a lot more adversity during the regular season. During the first round of the playoffs, I probably would have expected a lot more. But all we can do is control us. And so we were able to kind of do that throughout.
Yeah, and what led to that? Because you've been there for 6 years now, and you just said, at 2-7 at one point in time. Did you see the transition coming to where you guys were really starting to come together as a team?
Yeah.
When was that?
Well, I think that the transition probably started 4 years ago, when we transitioned our weight room. Now we have the Welker Wellness Center, which is, if not one of the elite training facilities in the area, probably in the state. We were able to transform, obviously, the game field, so the football, soccer fields being turfed. When all of those things happen, and then we got Quinn Hellman running our strength and conditioning program, and so all boys and girls in the district are doing the same strength and conditioning. They all work out together. Kind of an emphasis on the sprint training. We're working on developing speed more so than just maximum strength. That's really kind of transitioned it, but really, it's going to go back to the kids. So it's the kids' willingness to buy into this philosophy, and they don't just embrace it, but now it's kind of our culture. Like that's it's a cliche word, but that's kind of who we are. Is you take strength and conditioning, and the administration, obviously outside of just the facilities, but the support that we've had from the administration to be able to say we have strength and conditioning 8 hours a day. So I teach early bird strength and conditioning. Coach Hellman does it the rest of the day, and we've eliminated after school weightlifting, to use the air quotes, right? Yeah. The way it always was when I grew up, you lifted after school. But I was a 3-sport athlete, just like a lot of our kids are. And so lifting during the day has allowed all of our programs to share athletes, which at a school of 500, you have to share athletes. And if you're not sharing athletes, then you're not going to be able to translate success from one season and one sport to another. And I feel like that's been one of the biggest areas where we've been able to, I think, see sustained success throughout the year, not just in one sport.
100% over. I mean, 100% agreed with you. And take me through what the summer looks like for Roxana, because I'm sure your guys start in February, or starting to get really into maybe some game film. What's that look like, that preparation in the off season?
Yeah, honestly, in the off season, my kids play other sports. So as soon as football ends, they go to wrestling and basketball. As soon as wrestling and basketball end, they go to baseball and track. And the expectation is that we have kids that do multiple sports. It's kind of the expectation that I've set, because you can strength train, you can sprint train, you can do everything you want, but playing sports and being competitive there's nothing like it. There's nothing that trains that other than just doing it, other than being competitive and playing sports. And our kids buy in, man. Our kids play sports. And so, we had basketball. They had basketball practice this morning, and some of the football kids are down about, not running around, but they're down at practice right now, and they're watching it. They're learning. They're getting some shots up, and they're athletes, man, and they're high school kids, and they want to play sports, and I never want to take that away.
Well, and it's so huge. I was just talking with OSF St. Anthony's just a couple of days ago. They sent out a really nice article about why it's good to play multiple sports, and for the different muscle groups, and you aren't going to wear down, and it really helps the longevity of someone that's dedicated maybe to a football that does have a wrestling or basketball career in the winter. That helps immensely.
Yeah, I think it's really, really easy to see the translation, right? I mean, the skills that you acquire in basketball or in wrestling, and how those skills would translate to football, or certainly track and field is obviously one. Coach Akel and I have worked really closely together for all 6 years that I've been there. And if you're not a baseball player, my expectation is that you run track, because it doesn't matter if you're a running back, a receiver, a lineman, or what position you are. Speed is kind of, to quote the feed the cats thing that we've kind of bought into, is, speed is the tide that lifts all boats. And so if somebody is faster and more athletic, they're going to be better. And ultimately the goal of the weight room and the training has to be better at your sport. The goal, when we go do deadlift, if you're the best deadlifter in the world and you can't play sports, then you're not a great athlete. You're a great deadlifter. Yeah. And those are two very different things. And the kids have really bought into this philosophy throughout the district, and that's been key for us.
Well, and that's a huge point, is district-wide. I mean, it's given me great hope that Roxana's going to have some great programs for the next 10 years at least.
I think that's the goal, right? I mean, we don't want to be a blip. If you look back through the last, I'll say 20 years, since Coach Smith in 2003 went undefeated. They were the last undefeated team. But, Coach Keith was there and did a really good job. And they had a back-to-back years where they had a ton of success, won a playoff game. But you go back and you see since Coach Rach, really, it's more of a blip. Yep. And so it's a really good group that goes through and then it goes away. And, I've said it all year after we were able to beat Breeze Central and we were able to beat Columbia. Our goal, or we're able to beat St. Joe last Saturday, our goal is sustainability. So I want, Coach Short was from Breeze Central, is one of my really good friends, and him and I talked, and I said, our goal is to get where you are. You're at the top of the league every year. That's my goal. My goal is to be competing for a conference championship and an opportunity. I talk about winning the RiverBend. If we're able to win the RiverBend, if we're able to compete for a conference championship, then I know that we're where we need to be. And that can't just be because we have a great group of seniors. That has to be the program that's being developed, and really not even 9 through 12, but starting to work some of our strength and conditioning philosophies down into the junior high and start working this in 6 through 12. And that's when you're able to see sustainability, not just they have a great class, they go 11-0 and everybody high fives, and then the next year, you fall off. You can't have that. You have to have the systems in place first, which I feel like we have.
100%, because so many high schools go through the same thing that you were just talking about, that blip on the radar. I can count on, I need about 2 sets of hands to go, well, they were 16-0 in soccer last year, and now they're 3-13. And it's all because of that. It goes into the longevity aspect and building a foundation. But take me through the St. Joe game, because, man, this had to be, for anyone watching, whether they were at the stadium, whether they were watching on their TV, this was one of the most exciting high school football games in the area.
It's certainly unlike anything I've ever been a part of. I told the kids after the game, I said, I don't even know that I have words to describe what happened. You know, the Wood River game last year was pretty close.
It was.
I mean, they came down, they kicked a field goal at the very end of the game to win the game. When we were able to block and return, and the score certainly looked much more lopsided than that game was.
Right.
I mean, that was a 2-point game or a 1-point game that we returned a late touchdown to go win by 8. But really, that was probably the closest thing where it comes to the very last play of the game, essentially. And, in both instances, our kids were able to execute. We had some good, we had some bad. I mean, we're not going to, it's funny. Somebody asked, I don't remember who it was, asked me, they said, have you ever won a game giving up 500 yards? I said, well, our defensive goal is certainly never to give up 500 yards. But, we were able this year to win a playoff game 48-47. But a year ago at Hillsborough, offensively, we couldn't do anything. They shut us down, and we were able to win a playoff game 13-7. So, when you can win one 48-47, and you can turn the previous year you win one 13-7, it's about one side of the ball picking up the other, and it's about athletes picking each other up. If offense is having a bad day, the defense has got to step up and get us a win, and vice versa. And then you always work the special teams in there, which obviously, if you think back to the Wood River game, if they make that field goal, then they win that game, and then they're off and running. And instead, we were able to make the play on special teams, and every little piece adds up. And so this game itself last Saturday was it was unlike anything that I've ever probably been a part of. I don't know that. I don't know how many more I can handle.
That's a good point, too.
Yeah.
Well, before I take a break, because I want to keep this conversation going, throughout the year, throughout the season, I'm sure that it's still going 100 miles an hour to even take a breath about, this is what, week 1 looked pretty good here, week 2 looked pretty good. But is there one moment outside of the field with the guys that you just kind of reassures that you have a great group that are just supportive of each other? Is there one story there, or is there just multiple?
I have to think about one story. I think that the ability to pick each other up, I guess,
huge.
is probably where I go back to more than anything. Kids have bad days. Kids have lives. Football isn't life. Football is football. And, it's kind of ironic talking about, we're playing tomorrow, obviously, tomorrow afternoon, and we're excited. But, when we're able to step back and understand that we're playing a game. Like, this is a game of football, especially tomorrow. You do play on Veterans Day. It really, you kind of step back and it puts things in perspective, right? Like, we had a really bad day. We show a lot of video clips of different things and putting in perspective winning and losing, because we all want to win. We all prepare to win. But you can't always win. It's not possible. Nobody has ever won everything they've ever done. And so, being able to put that in perspective and not really focus on winning and losing, but more focusing on what does it take to have the opportunity to win. And I think that has and the kids' ability to buy into that as a team. It can't be any team that's coach-led is going to be average.
Yep.
And we clearly have a player-led team. They make decisions. They come to me with stuff. And they don't question, but they say, hey, why are we doing this? And then I can give them my explanation. And sometimes we stick with what I want. Sometimes they say, we were thinking this, and then we make the change because it's their team. It's not mine. Roxana football was here long before me. Roxana football is going to go on long after me and these athletes. And so it's bigger than that. It's just about being able to function as a team, regardless of what your role is. If you're the head coach, your assistant coach, you're the star player, you're one of the 48 kids that we dress. It doesn't matter. Everyone has a role in that.
Man, that's just incredible and really great to hear, because I don't think a lot of coaches see that. It's because maybe and I've been around coaches enough to know, and it's sometimes it's like, man, I gotta be, I'm the commander. Well, that's great, but whenever you have a team of leaders like you're talking about, that really elevates everything and makes it such an easier conversation, an easier way to build and go forward. I mean, coaches really need to start hopefully taking a piece out of that and going, it's not saying the kids run the ship, but also to have a nice working relationship in an adult one too.
Well, I think that's a really good way of describing it as a working relationship, right? It's not, I'm the boss, my way or the highway. We're going to do X, Y, and then I have my philosophy, and they know it. And we're going to run the football. We're going to play great defense. Like, that's how we're going to win games. And sometimes those games end up 48-47, and other times they end up 13-7. And so, but they believe in that philosophy. But when they know that what they believe is also valued. We are able to have honest and open conversations, and they've come to me with a lot of things, and I've turned them down because I said, I don't like it because of this, or this is what makes me nervous, and this is why I don't think we can do it. And they go, okay. And it's not because I don't give them the no because I'm the boss. It's this is what I believe. And then other times I said, I think we're going to do it this way, and they've come to me and said, what about this? And I'm like, oh no, that's better. And we just scrap what I had originally planned and we go with what they said. But it shows investment and not investment selfishly, right?
Yeah.
It's not about, I think we need to run this play so that this kid can do this. It's as a team, what do we need to do? Everything from practice plans to all kinds of stuff. The kids have a lot of input in it. And I feel like that's important. I think that it builds trust. And I want them to trust me. I want them to know that I want what's best for them.
Right.
Because like I said, for these 18 seniors, next year they will not be playing in Roxana.
Right.
And that's, you've got to lean on that when you have a group who's able to have those adult conversations and take the yeses with the nos.
Right, and that's huge. And when did your coaching career start? Did it start at Roxana, or were you coaching well before
I
this?
started in 2007.
Oh,
at
damn.
Bunker Hill.
You look, I thought maybe you were 30 years old, man.
Oh, I'm 40.
No way.
Yeah.
Man,
No.
football's doing well for you.
Yeah, you should see the gray in my bald head and the gray in my beard.
So how did you lead up into Roxana, if you don't mind me asking before the break?
How long is this show? So I've been a lot of places. So I started actually in Bunker Hill in 2007 with my cousin, Michael Popovich, and he took over that program. I had never coached. I got a degree from U of I and something else, wasn't teaching, was working, hated it because it was salesy, and I didn't like sales. And he talked to me about wanting to come coach. And I was like, I like sports. Yeah. So I went and I started coaching with him. 2007, we actually made the playoffs at Bunker Hill. It's the only time anybody.
Wow.
Bunker Hill's never made the playoffs. So we went 6-3 or 6-4. We lost first round, should have won that game. Coached there for a couple of years, went to Alton High for a couple of years. I've been around a lot. So then a lot of it was teaching jobs, a lot was coaching. In 2012, I was at Alton Marquette with Coach Nelson, who's still probably one of my biggest mentors. And a lot of good relationships from that stop. Southwestern for a year. My wife and I moved up north. I was at Champaign.
Wow.
So I was at Champaign Central for 2 years with Nate Albaugh, who's now at Hayworth. He's one of my go-to guys. We talk every week. I took the head job at Oakwood, and then that kind of parlayed it into moving back home, right? I'm from Mount Olive, and so parlayed it back into moving back home and at Roxana. And Roxana was open, and I never looked at. I didn't know anything about Roxana because Mount Olive's not really the Riverbend area.
Right.
It's closer almost to Springfield, really. And a buddy of mine kind of turned me on to the job, and then I actually knew Mr. Danduran, the principal, from my time at Alton High School.
Oh,
him
wow.
and I worked together, oddly enough, and so I contacted him, and it all worked out. And so, I couldn't be happier. My family's happy here. We love it. And I think I'm here to stay now, finally. My wife said, we're not doing anything because you've been moving every 2 years. So now that I'm in year 6, I feel like she feels a little more confident.
You can take some easier breaths, huh?
Yes.
You got a moment to stick around with me?
Yeah.
10:45, I got to pay a quick bill. We'll come back with this great conversation right after this.
Welcome to Evergreen Place, a community that embodies joyful living, independence, and financial freedom for seniors. If you're looking for a full day of activities or to relax in your apartment, we have you covered. Located on the Alton Memorial campus. To know us is to love us. Experience the difference at Evergreen Place.
Is it time to buy, sell, or even time to consider a short sale of your property? Meet Lisa Webb, owner of 3rd Street Realty. This local, women-owned, family-operated realty group has over a decade of experience in foreclosures, first-time home buying, and so much more. 3rd Street Realty prides themselves on holding your hand through the entire process. Let their expertise guide you to your dream home. Visit 3rdstrealty.com and start your journey with Lisa Webb today.
Do you need to declutter your space? Time to call me, the Queen of Junk. Since 1993, we have grown to be the leader in residential, commercial, and property management junk removal. At Sparks Junk Removal, we are eco-friendly. We recycle, donate, or repurpose items back into our community. Trash is our last resort to the landfill. Plus, with our all-inclusive service, our crews handle everything from labor to lifting and landfill fees. Give us a call or visit our website, sparksjunkremoval.net, to reclaim your space today.
With over 20 years of experience, Wilson's Tree Service has the expertise to handle all of your tree care needs. Licensed and fully insured, their team of experts are dedicated to providing reliable service. Plus, with a 24-hour emergency service line, Wilson's will always be there for you. Don't risk tackling that timber by yourself. Trust the local professionals at Wilson's Tree Service. Visit treeservicealtonil.org to get started today.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
Then that time I went and said goodbye.
Sorry, don't mind me. 10:47 is the time on this 10th day of November. I always get confused when it's 11:10 or like 9:10, and I always say the day first instead of the month. I got problems, Wade. With that being said, take me through the team as a whole. Some of the guys that are putting in the work that maybe you want to shout out. I mean, it's hard to shout out all guys, but I mean everyone's firing and everyone's really a part of this, and that's what's fun.
Yeah, we're in a unique spot where we actually have 21 different starters, and so not a lot of teams are able to do that. We have the depth, and we have to have some hard conversations with kids, because right now we've got sophomores, juniors, and seniors who would have started for a lot of teams that I've coached that this year aren't really getting the playing time that they probably I would like for them to be able to get. But at the end of the day, it's a hard decision you have to make as a coach, and you got to do what you think is best to give the team an opportunity to win, because ultimately that's what we're there for.
And if it's okay, take me through your guys' practices. What's that look like week in to week out? Is it the same format, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, going into or Thursday going into the game Friday, or do you kind of change it up depending on who you're playing, what the week's looking like for the kids? Any of that stuff?
It's pretty black and white. Monday. So on we'll say a typical Friday week during the regular season, we'll go Monday's just a walkthrough, do some film, do a little walkthrough, make sure that we're healthy. Yeah. Tuesday we just go helmets on Tuesday. So we'll wear helmets on Monday for the walkthrough. Tuesday we just go helmets, a little bit more fast paced, trying to get some speed work in, whatever they didn't get done in the weight room. Heavy day of offense, usually on Tuesday. Wednesday we'll go helmets and shoulder pads, and we never go full pads.
Right.
I don't like full pads. Kids forget practice pants, and then I end up pissed off before practice even starts. I said it's 2:58. I don't want to be mad. We haven't even started practice yet. Why do I want to be mad at you? So I just eliminated it. We never go live. We'll thud, but we're never going to tackle live. What I found is that kids are going to hit on a Friday night are going to hit on a Friday night. If you hit during the week, it actually usually makes them slower and less physical on a Friday night. So, Wednesday we do a lot of thud, a lot of heavy defensive emphasis that day, making sure we got everything. And then Thursday is, I call it cleanup day, right? So we got film from Tuesday. We film practice on Tuesday. We film practice on Wednesday. And Thursday we have a lot of meetings at the beginning to clean up some film stuff. And then we have a script that we run through all of our special teams. Tuesday is a heavy special teams day along with offense. And then Thursday is obviously a heavy special teams day. We get into a lot of what ifs, a lot of little scenarios, the Hail Mary, the last second plays, all the what ifs could happen. Make sure that, we don't want to see anything on a Friday night that we haven't seen before.
Right.
And so we don't want to be in that situation. And so, it's a pretty standard week. We got into the playoffs and we did spread it out Monday through Friday for 5 days of practice. But what we did is we just cut time.
Gotcha.
So I take the same number of segments as we put them, and I spread it out. Basically, Monday was the same. Thursday became Friday. But then we take a Tuesday and a Wednesday, and we just spread it out over 3 days. So we were out by 5 o'clock every day.
Wow.
This week we're a little bit. Last Saturday was more physical. I mean, honestly, last Saturday I said it was the first time this season that my starters have played the last drive of the game. We had been up by so much every 10 weeks in a row that they had never played for 4 legit quarters. And so we were really pretty beat up on Monday. still. So we gave them Monday, not beat up, sore.
Yeah.
So we gave them Monday off. Tuesday became the walkthrough. So we just went a Tuesday through Friday, just like a normal Monday through Thursday. And so a little bit longer practices, but getting done what we had to get done.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's really good to know that too, because I'm thinking just like you when you say, "Hey, we aren't going live," and it makes sense because if you're getting all your hitting done by Wednesday or Thursday, you're exhausted. You're probably trying to recover by a Friday night game.
Yeah, I mean, I think that fast and fresh is the underlying theme of everything that we do, whether it's training or practice. Is we want athletes to be 100% healthy because when they're 100% healthy, then they're happy. And when they're healthy and happy, they can play fast and speed wins. And so at the end of the day, that's what we believe. We do go live one play per week on Wednesday. So when we have our shells on, this was last night. So we go one play per week, ones versus ones. And the team, offense or defense, wins. Because you got to have winners and losers. It's true. You got to learn to lose.
Yep.
And so we go one play live, and whichever side, anybody who's not participating chooses a side who they believe is going to win. We throw different scenarios at them every week. They get one play live, and the winning group gets to eat team meal first on Thursdays. So,
that's nice, man.
Defense got us last night, so tonight defense gets to eat first at team meal.
Nice.
Offense eats second.
Who does your team meals? Is it just a variety?
All the moms, man.
Oh,
I
really?
mean, the group. I don't even know. You'd have to do a whole nother show for me to go through all the things that the moms do for us. I mean, we do team meals every Thursday, Friday during the playoffs. And I mean, just the amount of support, like it's hard to, I hate mentioning some things because I know I'm going to forget others.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you just look at between the Booster Club and then the moms group doing this stuff, and there are so many. I said it's really a program. Like but it's more than a program. It's tied in so much with the community, with the school, with the administration, with the teachers, with the student body. It's all tied in together. And so it's football. Like, I mean, my happy time is like from 3 to 6 because we're just practicing football, and I love it. But doing stuff, being able to winning is great. Right? Winning has good and winning has bad. I think probably the best thing that I've seen this year, because I've never had this level of success. Last year was the most successful year I had ever had. We were 7-4, which is really kind of average.
Right.
What I've seen come from it is my opportunity to go on shows like this and be able to, when Channel 2 and Channel 5 News are out filming practice and interviewing coaches and kids, that is special.
Yeah.
And this has provided, I think, a glimpse for some who had no idea into what's been going on at Roxana really for the last 4 years. Like it's been a slow fight, but we've really been able to put the systems, like I said, in place. And it starts with, I mean, the board, the administration, the teachers, all the student body, and being able to really showcase all the great things that are happening there that I think get overlooked when you go 2-7 or when you go 7-4. Those great things were still happening 2 years ago when we were 2-7. They were happening last year, and I think that we got a glimpse of it. Mm-hmm. But you talk about like the football moms doing team meals, that hasn't stopped.
No.
They don't not do meals when we're 2-7. They're still there. They're still supporting us. All the people that are there are always going to be there. And now we get some more, which is good because we're able to really show all the things that we have to offer.
Well, and it shows your guys' commitment as a whole and talking district wide to really believe in what you're doing.
Yes.
Because in years, and something that takes years upon years, it's pretty easy to go and get discouraged. Man, this isn't happening as quick, but you guys all came together and really supported this, and that's why it's doing so well.
We believed in it. We all believed in the same thing. When you all believe, the belief is powerful, man.
It is.
And when everyone on board, and this is football, and it's a different mindset for the track for Coach Akel. It's a different mindset for us. It's a different mindset for basketball. Like everyone's kind of buying into this belief of, healthy, happy, fast, speed training. Athletes train in the weight room year round. We never have after school lifting. They lift it. I mean, now it's starting to become the culture at Roxana. And that's a testament to so many people. Like I said, the administration with the facilities, the high school allowing it in the schedule daily, Coach Hellman running the weight room. And we have all these things, and it's really great to be able to finally promote it and show what has been going on, because this is years of work. This isn't a blip where it's like all of a sudden we have really good seniors and now we're good. You know, these kids have been putting in this work for years.
100%. And I also wanted to mention too, this morning, we were talking when you were walking down. Can you fill me on what the guys do in the morning or in the afternoon? Because I think that's some of the coolest stuff, man.
Yeah, so one of our coaches, Coach Lawrence, he's a 4th grade teacher at Central Intermediate, which kind of butts up. It's real close right there with the junior high and the high school. And he kind of organized this. So I take no credit. He did all the organization. He ran it through the administration and made sure everything was good. And we started this week 1. And the kids go down. So sometimes we'll go before school. So all the football players wear their jerseys on Friday, but they go down and they greet the 3rd through 5th grade kids as they get dropped off. As they get off the bus, the football players are there high-fiving them, taking pictures with them. We had schedule posters and made this year, and we handed them out. So I sent all the seniors down one week, and we'll also go. So they went during lunch. So they go down there, they eat lunch with the kids, and then they go out and they have recess. So they're able to go out and play kickball, and they're doing all this stuff with the 3rd, 4th, 5th grade students. We gave them schedule posters. And so all the kids down there got one, and the seniors were able to sign them.
Oh,
so,
cool, man.
They did like a signing thing where the high school kids are signing their posters. And I mean, when you have a lot of success, you are a celebrity.
Yeah.
Like, these kids are local celebrities.
Yes.
And that, I think it's cool for the high school, I call them kids, they're kids to me.
Yeah.
For these high school kids to be able to understand, and now they can kind of start to see the impact that they have. Like when you see a kid get off a bus and his eyes light up because the football players are there to give him a high five on his way in.
Yep.
It really makes you see the bigger picture. And again, we talk about wins and losses, which is the goal, but ultimately that's not where it's going to end, right? I mean, these kids are growing up now and they're going, I want to be him. And like these kids it's really cool, but I think that you might see more. I mean, you see a lot from the 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, like their faces, and they're so excited. But I think that the high school kids go down there and they're able to learn a lot, even at 16, 17, 18 years old. That man, what we do matters, and the choices that we make matter. These kids have worked hard enough to put themselves in this position. So my underclassmen that go down there see, man, we got to do this, right? And we've got to continue to work in the weight room. We've got to continue to train, and we've got to continue to do these things so that we can sustain this. For the seniors, it's kind of a culmination of all the hard work you put in, right? Those kids put in work, and we went 2-7.
Right.
And then they put in work, and we hosted a playoff game and got beat pretty soundly. Now they're able to see, okay, like it will pay off. And seeing it from both sides, seeing it from what the little kids have, and then, seeing it from the high school kids' perspective, it's really cool to see all of them kind of, again, you talk about a community, you talk about a whole district approach, and seeing that it's pretty neat.
Well, and it really instills what it's like to be a role model. I mean, your guys are role models, I'm sure, for those 3rd and 5th graders every Friday when they're coming. I mean, it goes above sports and football. It really helps in the later stages of really an adult life.
And I've talked to teachers down there who are like, their entire school day looks different on a Friday because that's how the kids are able to start their day, and that matters, and then we're able to have conversations with the high school kids and let them know, hey, every decision that you make matters. And so now you're in the public eye, and that means that if you're making good decisions, you're going to be celebrated. But if you're making bad decisions, everyone's going to know. Right. Because everyone knows who you are right now. I talk about all the time with me. If I do something and I get in trouble for doing something stupid, it's going to say Roxana football coach Wade Devries, blah, blah, blah. And so they've got to understand that and when you put that jersey on, I said, and when you don't have it on, I said, you represent all of us. I represent all of us. You represent all of us. Whether you're a freshman or a senior or anywhere in between, we all represent each other. And so the way you act in class, the way you act in the cafeteria, the way you act in the hallway, the way you act in the community, we all represent each other. And again, it's getting back to the idea that it's going to be a lot bigger than just winning and losing on a Friday night.
Right. Well, and speaking of that too, we've been talking for over 30 minutes now. I've loved every minute of this, and we're almost out of time, but take me through tomorrow. What's that going to look like for you guys? When do you depart?
We're leaving at 9:50. Leave about 9:50. So our kids, we do things a little different than a lot of places. So our kids will get there about 8:30. We'll get there at 8:30. We'll do equipment check. Make sure we have socks and knee pads and all that other crap. Before the bus leaves, we want to make sure that we have all of our stuff so that we can board the bus and not get to Stanford and be like, oh, I don't have my knee pads. So We're going to get all that done first. And then we'll go down with Coach Hellman in the weight room. They'll stretch. They'll get a foam roll. And then we sprint on game day. So every kid gets 1 or 2 timed sprints. We've actually had hundreds of PRs on game day.
Wow.
Because the kids, they're excited. And so when you're happy and you're excited, you run fast.
Yep.
They're fresh because we've had, our week of practice lends itself to being fast. And the philosophy behind it is that it's not, there's no fatigue. 1 or 2 max velocity sprints does not create fatigue. It actually primes your central nervous system, which is getting them ready to go play. And so like our kids, we talked about not doing it 1 week and they were like, no, we have to sprint. And we were like, okay, never mind. You talk about listening to the kids, they go, we have to sprint. And we said, okay, never mind. Stupid us. So what a terrible idea, coaches. No, we're going to sprint. And we sprinted. And so we'll do that. We'll get some food. We always feed them on Fridays. Mm-hmm. And then they'll get on the bus. They'll eat on the bus. We'll get up there a couple hours early. And then I said, the beauty is once we get to Olympia, it's just game day.
Yep, that's
and
it.
Everything is the same. There's going to be thousands of people, but there are thousands of people last week. There was against Breeze Central. There was week 1 in the playoff. We've done this.
Yeah.
So, I think the TV crews coming out week 7 against Breeze Central was really eye-opening to realize how big this kind of can be. But since then, they don't flinch. The kids just know. There's going to be media. There's going to be thousands of people. And that's just how it is now.
Absolutely. And how are you guys feeling ahead of tomorrow? You think you're going to have a pretty good result? Guys are working well?
Yeah, we had a great week of practice, actually. We got 1 left. So tonight's got to be crisp. That Friday or Thursday or Friday practice has to be crisp, has to be clean. It's got to be perfect. And if we're able to be perfect tonight, then it gives us an opportunity to be, really good tomorrow.
And then hopefully an opportunity to come back here for the semi and have it at home. That would be huge.
Yeah. If we're able to win tomorrow night, we'll be home. So
That's
we'll be
massive.
against Mount Carmel or against Roxana graduate Scott Hamilton, who's coaching at Tolono Unity.
Oh, that would be an even better picturesque
awesome.
story right there.
It would.
Wade, man, thank you so much for stopping by. I told you 15, 20 minutes, but I just had to keep talking to you. It's been a hell of a year, and really to hear about the culmination of just hard work and dedication for years upon years leading up to this is even cooler, man.
Yeah, it's really nice to get to this point and then, be able to appreciate the sustainability moving forward.
Absolutely. With that being said, we are out of time, but I'll see you all here tomorrow because we'll be at Alton VFW for the Veterans Day celebration, and we'll be there to bring you that coverage. We'll be back on Monday, so have a great weekend. Most importantly, Coach Devries, what I tell everyone every weekend, just try your best to stay out of jail.